if you had something that spun you around 180 degrees during your entrepreneurship, you thought of it was going to be this way and you went going that, and all of a sudden it was opposite. It was just not what you expected. You had to make a 180-degree turn. Would you remember any time like that? It sounds like the social life, your job to entrepreneur just answered that question for me.
Yeah. That's literally, to this day, I feel like, wow, I went from, and it's funny because social is in there, but it's like social worker to social media strategist. And it was literally 180-degree difference, because as a social worker, it's all about serving and not making money and not even thinking about money. And I still have that concept. Those are the things that I had to overcome. And again, my mentor taught me, he goes, you're not serving people as a consultant, as a strategist, if you don't charge. And if you don't charge at a premium, because people, there's a quote that was actually on my computer screen for the longest time. And it was, let's see if I can remember this. And this was when I was a social worker. It was that which people obtain too lightly, obtain too cheaply, they esteem too lightly. In other words, they take it too lightly, they take it for granted, and they don't apply it. When you charge premium dollars, they go, oh my gosh, I am taking advantage of this, and I'm going to apply because I want to get my money's worth. So for instance, when I went to the Tony Robbins conference, I didn't realize it was a 3-day. I thought it was a 1-day, and it was like $750. That was the most I had ever spent on what I thought was a 1-day. We would spend $97, and we had a budget at the social work agency. So to spend $700 was 7 times more than anything. I'm like, okay, so how many hours am I going to be there? And my desk just started moving. How many hours are going to be there? I literally looked at how much I'd be paying per hour for this conference. And then at the end of day 3, which I didn't know was a weekend event, I was like, oh, I got my money's worth and then some. Oh my gosh, it changed my life. So that's when I realized, and then I signed up for the next program, and that was the one in Hawaii. And then it was 16,000, right? Like I just kept, the more I spent, what I realized, Joanne, the more I spent, the more I made. I also learned that when I lived in Austin for a while, and then I went back to California. I just kept going back to California. I went down, lived in Europe for a while, Barcelona, and then back to California. Wow. But what I realized is it was very cheap to live in Austin. But you also, I didn't attract the high net worth people that wanted to up level their strategy. So for me, my 180-degree shift in business, Joanne, like you were talking about the entrepreneurship in business, was making that shift and realizing it's not only okay to charge, you're doing them a disservice if you don't. So if I kept my social worker mentality on, my Mother Teresa hat on, where you just give, and don't get anything back, they did nothing to advance themselves in their life. So it's that whole concept of teaching a man how to fish versus fishing for them and just giving him fish. So, but that was a big shift for me because that's how I was raised. It was just in me. I was wired to just give unconditionally. And once I made that shift and realized, nope, you need to charge for people to get results. My first coaching in Hawaii actually was someone that you know was Alicia. She was one of my coaches with Rich. Yes, got the bling money earrings. See, she's all about like make the money. And she's also about leverage your time. So it was her, Rich Sheffrin, and then also Jay Abraham, 3 coaches. And I paid $2,000 a month for 6 months. And I looked at that and I was like, oh man, I have to listen to every word they said and apply it because I need to make $2,000 a month in order to pay for that. Well, guess what? At the end of 6 months, what was I doing, Joanne? I was not only making the $2,000 and make that payment, I was making more than that, double, triple that. And then all of a sudden I wasn't making the $2,000 payment. So that was a bonus. So it was that shift of if people aren't paying, they're not applying. And that was a shift for me. So, and I still have to tell myself these lessons too, Joanne, because I will give and give and give until it bleeds. And then I realize that's not helping people. And that's the mindset shift for me.
You know, when I learned that, and that is, if you had asked me that same question, that was my same answer. Exactly. But I do it as a coin. There's 2 sides of a coin, service and business. You need to flip the coin in order to you can do them both, but you need to know which side you're working on. And that it was like a light bulb. I'm like, Because I'm like you, the Mother Teresa. I love you said the Mother Teresa hat. I'm like, she's talking about me. I'm like, I love it. We are so alike. It's incredible. But you just hit on so many points, and that would be my answer too: is service and business. And it's a real hard shift to make. And I'm in the process. I'm still doing it. I'm going for my $8 a month membership. I'm still doing it. So help me, future, help me.
Yeah, well, and what's interesting when you said, oh, she's so much like me, I feel we'll attract people that are like us. That energy will attract the other people. And there's some sisterhood or kismet that we just pick it up, male or female, doesn't matter, right? We just pick that up and we're like, oh, I can learn from that person. So, yeah. And you've chosen well.
I chose my 3 heroes, which you'll know in my book, and you know I have you, Alicia, and Angie, and the 3 of you are well mentioned, actually. I can't wait for you to read it. I hope I did you good, but you did me good, so it would be a bonus.